Hello and welcome to our 12-part mini-series Harvestable. Join us every Thursday for 15-minute fireside chats with agriculture's most insightful minds in the lead up to harvest. In this episode, we are joined by Tim Dean of Universal Commodity Management.
So hi there, Ben Reid here, co-founder and head of growth at AgriDigital, and today on the line for the next version of Harvestable podcast, I've got Tim Dean from UCM on the line. How are you, Tim? Very good. Yep, well, thanks. So UCM is an acronym for Universal Commodity Management, and UCM is a business who's a customer of ours, but a business based in, I guess, Tim, would you say, the river region of New South Wales, Victoria, and then some sites through Victoria as well. So great to have you on the line today. And probably just to kick things off, might just get you to probably introduce a bit about yourself and your background, and then a little bit on the UCM business and what it is that you do.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. I grew up on a family farm down in a little place called Coojar in Western Victoria, which is where I live today. We have a livestock business down here, and also involved in the grain industry as well.
Yep, very good. And I guess the UCM business, you said you're sort of based down at the home farm in Western Victoria, but yeah, just maybe just give us some background on the UCM business and where that is and what it is that you do.
Yeah, for sure. So my business partner and I, we started approximately 10 years ago in the Southern Riverina around Moama, Mathara, and taken on some opportunities in the Wimmera and in Western Victoria. So currently got the 4 sites that we're running.
Yep, that's good. And then, those sites, they're harvest, I guess what I'd call harvest receival sites. So you receive grain in there from farmers, and then I'm not sure how many there are, but lots of grain buyers buy the grain at those sites.
Yeah, that's right. The Riverina sites are they obviously have their dual cropping when the seasons and the water allocations allow. The Wimmera and Western Victoria just for the winter cropping season. We sort of see ourselves as more an extension of on-farm storage rather than a bulk handler. Just to service the grower and the trade and try and get the best outcome for everyone.
Yep, that's right. And I certainly see that with the interactions we've had with you over the years, I guess, that the flexibility, I guess, that you bring to as you say, to the buyer and to the grower. So giving we'll call it the harvest flexibility for farmers, bringing grain in at harvest time to be able to cash or market the grain later, or even pull their grain out themselves, which is probably to your point a little bit different to the major bulk handlers that are probably very focused around the grower actually transferring the grain at the site themselves and not having the flexibility of out-turning the grain in their own name. So that's certainly a point of difference. And probably, Tim, just for a little bit of context, I guess, for people listening, I think you're probably understating, I guess, what you've achieved there in that 9-odd year period. But just to give everyone a bit of context, Tim, about the scale of your business, you said you've got the 4 sites that are scattered, through southern New South Wales, Victoria. But just to give everyone some context as to the what you would receive into your sites in both an average year and probably a big year.
Yeah, we've got across the 4 sites, we've got capacity of around 400,000 tonne, and as an average, given that with the geographical spread, somewhere between 200 and 250, I suppose it would somewhere there, and hopefully for everyone's sake, it can, the higher the better, I suppose.
Yeah, great. Yeah, exactly. No, that's good. And I know since I've known you for a number of years now, but I guess there's been some expansion of some new sites that have come online, and which has given both, I guess, some geographical spread your risk out a bit, but also certainly helping out your customers as well. I guess particularly the buyers who have got more flexibility now to buy in different locations under the same banner. I guess today I probably just wanted to particularly focus on a couple of things, I guess, Tim, but primarily software systems. And I was obviously relevant for us as a business. You are a customer of ours using our AgriDigital platform. But I guess talking to you there a month or so ago when I sort of got the idea of having this chat with you, there's a number of software systems that you use in your business. And I think a lot of people can relate, whether it's a farmer or a grain trader or a transport company, it doesn't matter who it is, someone in the supply chain using lots of different software systems, whether it be, My John Deere for a farmer, or some sort of farm management software, or for a trader it might be a grain trading system, an accounting system, whatever it might be. your business is sort of no different, and it was sort of as interesting. I think you mentioned, up to sort of 7 or 8 software systems that you use to run your business. And I probably maybe giving a little plug here to a few other software providers as well, which we're happy to do. But yeah, I know that you mentioned you use our system obviously for grain inventory tracking. You use Xero for your accounting system. You mentioned you use a platform called My Trucking, which is, we can probably go into that in a moment. You've got obviously some trucks as well. Sheets for an employee, so timesheets where employees of yours can come in and check in and check out of work. And then there was another one you mentioned, Safe Ag Systems, which is you mentioned is a workplace OH&S software system, and the list goes on. There's literally a few more there too. So there's quite a bit going on there, and I probably felt like using various systems, so I just wouldn't mind understanding potentially the motivations behind why you're using so many pieces of software, and probably clearly trying to get away from manual paperwork process. Happy to discuss that, have a chat about that, and any sort of points of learnings I guess you've had from that process.
Yeah, absolutely. We certainly lean on a few cloud-based systems to run our business. As we developed a bit of geographical spread, we found that it was quite challenging to have localized systems, and especially paper-based. So we try to limit that as much as possible, given that we're spread sort of 400 k's apart, from site to site. So yeah, the ones that you've mentioned all play a big part in day to day in our business, and some other ones that don't get used as much, but it certainly enables us to work remotely, I suppose, and help our staff and help manage our business from anywhere with an internet connection and phone service.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess some of the software you're using is probably only used by 1 or 2 people, and then other software is used by lots of your staff. How have you found the adoption from your staff to actually get away from manual paper-based systems, and how have you found it, I guess, as being the person that's tried to sort of convince them that it's a good idea? Like, how have you found that?
Yeah, it's been really good. I think it's moving away from paper. It really makes sense. Everybody has a smartphone these days, and no matter what age somebody is, I think everybody sort of grasped them and become a part of everyday life, from their personal lives, their social lives, and their workplaces as well. But like anything in tech, there's teething problems, or there's login issues, or growing pains as systems develop. But no, it's certainly been it's a big part of our business, and I can see that it will continue to be going forward for sure.
Yeah. And I was actually, you've sort of knocked on the door there. I was literally going to go in. I don't like to sugarcoat things, and we know as a software provider, systems never do. And I'm the same. I use lots of different software systems in our business as well, and some of them never do the things you like, and sometimes they don't work as you think they would be attended to. And we certainly as a business are on the opposite end of that, I guess, as someone who provides software to people. And I'll credit you, Tim, and your business and others that give us we'll call it constructive feedback on a regular basis to improve it. But we as a software business actually thrive on that, because any feedback we get, we view it as they wouldn't have given that feedback to us if they didn't think that it was going to improve the system for their own business. But then the benefit of that, I guess, is that anything we improve for you as a customer, it's naturally going to improve other people as well. And that's sort of, I guess, part of the benefit of cloud computing, is that a feature that's there for one's there for everyone, and it becomes a little bit of a community, I guess, in some ways. So Tim, probably not to sort of to close out there, but I think it's a credit to you that you've identified that you need these systems in your business. And I know that probably we see quite a lot of people think that they need these things, but they just can't take that leap to actually implement them, and they just continue on with their old ways. But what's the saying? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, type thing. But yeah, clearly you've adopted a number of them, which is, as you said, has probably helped you scale your business in geographically. And if they're not working, or they're not working as you intended them to, I guess you get rid of them. But great to sort of understand that a bit better. And I think probably one of our, for example, integrations in our AgriDigital platform is an integration with NGR, which a lot of farmers listening and traders listening will know what NGR is. It's the National Grower Register. Integrating data out of that system into our system is helps the two systems talk to each other. And I know that I think you mentioned My Trucking, which is a trucking app to invoice freight, etc., integrates into Zero as well. So I guess systems that talk to each other lighten the load. Does your transport business, Tim, does it play a big part in what you're doing as UCM for your storage?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's certainly it's grown a little bit in the last couple of years, so it's starting to play a bigger part, and hence the reason why we went down the path of My Trucking to help manage that process, both from a back office perspective and from a driver perspective. It's a good tool, and you, like you mentioned, the link between different software companies being able to talk to each other, and that's certainly it's of great benefit when utilising different systems, like many businesses are, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's it. And I know that you and I have had discussions around more of that happening between our system and others, and certainly on our roadmap to make that happen. Never as fast as you'd like, Tim, as you know, but nonetheless working towards that. And I think that helps the adoption of people taking your system on board. And so that's great, Tim. And then probably last but not least, I always like to ask people where they think they're heading in the next 3 to 5 years, and probably what are the sort of the key things you're trying to do in your business to make it better, whatever that looks like. But what are the sort of the things that you're trying to consolidate on or sort of achieve in the next 3 to 5 years?
For us, it's just to continue to offer a service that the growers and the trade that they want, and we don't know what opportunities arise in the grain industry or from a grain marketing perspective, but I think we have to be very adaptable and change with the times as needed and as opportunities arise for our grain industry. Yep,
that's it. Well, as you pointed out, it's hard to know what an average year looks like. We've gone from, fingers crossed, another good year ahead of us, and obviously that'll be 2 in a row, which is sort of for most people at least unheard of, and particularly to the scale we're looking at this year, and obviously off the back of some pretty dry years before that. So who knows? Hopefully we can have at least an average year next year, Tim. But appreciate your time today, and best of luck for the harvest ahead. And we look forward to supporting you through that and beyond. And hopefully not too many rain clouds come over at the wrong time.
Thank you very much, Ben. Good to chat, and look forward to hopefully what is a successful harvest and a safe harvest.
Thank you for listening to Harvestable by Waypath. We hope you enjoyed this fireside chat. Have a great weekend and see you next Thursday.